Hi everybody, it's Melinda. We're here for our first lesson. Today it's going to be a citizenship lesson, and as you saw with my poster here, we want to thank the Rogers County Literacy Council, the Oklahoma Department of Libraries, and the Institute for Museum and Library Services. They give us the money to do these classes, and since there's COVID-19 happening right now, and we're all staying home and being safe, we're going to do this over Facebook in my Facebook group, Learn Now with Melinda Brown. So I see that my members are many of the people that have been in our classes, and I'm so glad to see you coming into the group, and thank you for that. And also some of our friends, and I hope my grandchildren are watching so that they can learn a couple of things while they're out of school. So let's get started. Today we're going to do the first 10 questions that you will find in the book that I think you all have. This comes from the from the U.S. government, the Department of Citizenship. And I think I've given all of you one of these, but if you're a person that needs one, if you'll message me, I will mail you one. It has the 100 questions that are the possible questions that you might be asked when you go for your citizenship test. Now remember, they just asked 10 questions. You don't know which ones it will be. And in order to pass the test, you have to get 6 of them correct. So let's just start. We're going to go through the book, and today we're going to do the first 10. So some of you already know these, I know, but it never hurts to review. So today, the first 10 questions will be about the Constitution and what the Constitution does, with the first 3 words of the Constitution, what an amendment is, the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment rights, how many amendments there are, Declaration of Independence, the words in the Declaration of Independence that are so important to us, and what is the freedom of religion. So these are the things that we're going to go over this time, and I hope that I will be able to explain them so that you will remember the answers if these are the questions that you're asked. The very first question is, what is the supreme law of the land? Oh my. Well, supreme, as you know, always means the biggest, the best, the most important. So now we're going to think about what would that biggest, best, most important supreme law of the land be. And of course, it is the Constitution. What is the Constitution? It's a piece of paper. This isn't the actual Constitution. This is a printed version of it. And you'll see down at the bottom, there are a lot of signatures. These are the people that wrote this together, decided what would be in it, and then they signed their names. They had to get the American people to agree that this would be a good form of government. So the first question, what is the supreme law of the land? It's the Constitution. The next question is, what does the Constitution do? It sets up the government. Sets up the government. So if you have some of these flashcards, you'll see it says, what does the Constitution do? The answers are sets up the government or defines the government. And we'll talk a lot about this later when we go through some of the other questions. But the answer to what does the Constitution do is sets up the government. Sets up the government. The third question is, the idea of self-government is in the first 3 words of the Constitution. What are those first 3 words? Well, let's just look at the Constitution. Oh, there it is. We the people. We the people. Now, this might not seem like such a big deal, but it doesn't say, I the king, or I the president, or I the prince, or I the queen. It says, we the people. And the question is, what are the first three words in the Constitution? So it's we the people. Okay, the next question asks us, what is an amendment? Okay, so these people that signed it down here wrote this Constitution. And after they wrote the Constitution, they knew that they needed to add some more information. They didn't list everything or every right that the people would have. So they started making amendments. What is an amendment? That's the question. An amendment is an addition or a change to the Constitution. Now, we make amendments every day. I'll give you an example. This is a note you left to your kids. Kids, unload the dishwasher when you get home. Hug and kiss Mom. Right? We've all done that. When you get home from work or from the store, this is what you find. Yep, they did unload the dishwasher. Very good, kids. But they left all the dishes sitting up on the cabinet. At least that's what my kids would have done. They unloaded the dishwasher, but they left the dishes sitting up on the cabinet. So here's your amendment. Kids, unload the dishwasher when you get home and put the dishes away. The and put the dishes away part is your amendment. You changed or added something to your note. So we all do amendments all the time, and that's what the founding fathers of our country found they needed to do with the Constitution. They needed to make amendments. How many amendments are there? There are 27, and that's one of the questions. How many amendments have been made to the Constitution? The first 10, number 1 through 10, are called the Bill of Rights. Number 1 through 10 are the Bill of Rights, but there are 27 of them altogether. Each amendment has to be approved by a majority of the states. Okay, so the next question is, what are the first 10 amendments called? They are called the Bill of Rights. So that's kind of tricky. They'll ask you, one of the questions is, what is an amendment? It's a change or addition. Then another question is, how many do we have? We have 27. Then they ask you what the first 10, 1 through 10, are called. They're called the Bill of Rights. And of course, they were the very first ones that they added. Okay, now the next question is, what did the Declaration of Independence do? The Declaration of Independence, that's 1776. The Constitution was 1787. This was written first. The Declaration of Independence was a letter to the King of England saying, hey buddy, we don't like your taxation. We don't like the fact that you're telling your soldiers they can live in our houses whenever they want to. We are just not going to go along with being British subjects. So Thomas Jefferson wrote a letter to the King of England and said, we declare ourselves to be free. And that's very important. We were still British colonies at the time, and we'll talk more about that. But in 1776, we wrote a letter that said we're going to be free, and it's the Declaration of Independence. Once again, you see, it's a piece of paper. It's a document. And the question is, what did it do? It told the king that we were going to be a free people. The next question, it seems like I'm having a little trouble with my glasses. What are two of the rights in the Declaration of Independence? Well, there are three. And remember, we're talking about the letter from 1776, the Declaration of Independence. We're talking about the letter. So there are three things that are very important and very historic about the Declaration of Independence. We told the king that we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If you think about it, what three other things could be more important for a free people? That you have a life, that you can live your life the way you want to, and that you can be happy. So these are the three words that you need to remember from the Declaration of Independence. The next question asks, what are some of the freedoms in the First Amendment? Well, we just said that life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness were very important according to the Declaration of Independence. Remember, the Declaration of Independence was written in 1776. Now we're talking about amendments again. And the very first amendment was very important. It had listed some of our freedoms that we Americans expected to have. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, freedom of the press, and freedom to petition the government. Freedom of the press means newspapers, the internet, television. We can say what we want to. Freedom to petition the government means that you can ask your representatives questions and ask them for help. Freedom of assembly means that we can get together in large groups. Not now, during COVID, we can't, but that is one of our freedoms, to get together in large groups and discuss our American problems. Of course, the question asked for one, and so you can look at this list and think which ones are most important to you. Some of my students say it's always freedom of speech, but other of my students say it's freedom of religion, and we'll talk about those freedoms in another lesson. So, now we have gone over the first 10 questions, and as you can see, I'm sure you probably know all of them now. What is the Constitution? What does it do? What are the first three words of the Constitution? What is an amendment? What is the Bill of Rights? What is the importance of the First Amendment? How many amendments are there? The Declaration of Independence. Those important words in the Declaration of Independence: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and freedom of religion. I think this is a pretty good start, and I'm so glad that we can be together. And I know I'm pretty low tech, so Brisa, don't laugh too much because I know I'm a low tech teacher, but I'll learn as we go along. Once again, I want to thank Rogers County Literacy Council, the Department of Libraries, and the Institute for Museum and Library Services for allowing us to do this. And I think it's going to be a really good thing. I'm going to work toward being able to have live chat. And once again, I'd just like to thank you all for being so brave to learn your questions so that you can pass your citizenship test. During these videos, we'll also work on our English. And I'll put my theme song on, and I'll see you next time.